Hello and welcome back everyone to the next episode on SAP Analytics Cloud Training with me Anubhav. In our last session, we talked about some of the advanced BI features like reference line, creating variances, working with conditional formatting, and also semantic coloring. Along with that, we have seen and created our SAP Analytics Cloud dashboard for our advanced BI story. In today's session, we are going to talk about the concept of planning. What is planning? We will talk about some of the planning jargons. As majority of you come from non-financial background, you are engineers. You have very little or less idea about financials, how to read and work with financials in a typical world. We will discuss about some of the jargons and then we will start building our planning model. Followed by that, we will learn some of the planning scenarios in today's session with SAP Analytics Cloud. So let's get started. What is planning? What do we mean by planning? Why do we need planning? So as the name is self-declarative about what is planning, still it's important to define what planning means for a company in context of a organization. So a planning is nothing but it's a fundamental function of management which involves deciding beforehand what is to be done, when it will be done, who is going to do it. It is an intellectual process which lays down organization goals and objectives which needs to be directed, monitored and cross-checked over a period of time. You see, planning is always a function of time. Yes, majority of the time it's a function of time because if you decide a goal for your organization, it should be time bound. It cannot be a goal which can complete or which can happen anytime. It should be time bound. So every goal or everything in planning is a function of time. Hence, the time dimension is so important in our data set is very important. Yes, planning chalks out all the goals which we want to attain and their specific goals. For example, how many people we need to hire in order to cross a X amount of revenue. How many machines we need to deploy to achieve a production goal. Yes. How many employees we need to move between organization to prepare for departmental services. Yes. So what is the change in the costing of a product based on other environmental changes? Like based on inflation, what will be the cost of my product in the future? Yes. Also, it's not just about doing the plan, but it's also about reporting these numbers to the business. So planning is not just about only calculating something, but also is to report the numbers to our stakeholders. Yes, example, customers, shareholders, preparing financial statements for businesses, yes, subsidiaries, combining the data of different subsidiaries. Yes, every department across organization does their own planning. Example, HR will plan for headcounts. Yes, an accountant will plan for finance, cost, yes, expenses, yes. A marketing executive will plan for campaigns, yes. So everywhere we do have planning at some or the other level in the organization, done within the organization for different stakeholders and within a given period of time. Why planning helps? So doing planning will help to increase coordination between departments of organization and align goals to wonders. So you need to understand that an organization is striving hard to achieve profits, and if the departments of the organization is not aligned, it is hard to achieve the goals, because someone in your company is thinking something and other person is thinking, or other department is living in a different world. You cannot have your company running so long in that case to achieve the planning goals, to achieve the goals of profit. Yes. Now, how it was used to done in the past when it comes to planning, and how SAP Analytics Cloud changes the way we live in the world. Yes. So in the past, the planning was done as part of centralized process to connect strategy to financial goals, dominated at corporate core. So every department which you see here in this diagram, be it product department, sales department, marketing department, HR department, they used to do their planning in Excel files, and they used to send these Excels to everywhere to the finance team. And now the people sitting here will actually do the planning. This is called centralized planning because all the data is coming to center. Here we use SAP BPC, business planning and consolidation, which is an on-premise system to do planning. And once the planning is done, we send back the Excel files to the respective departments of what they supposed to do, what they're supposed to work on, what are the goals. This is a cumbersome process because there's a lot of data exchange happens. Point one. Point two, it's not real time because by the time you receive the data, the time is already past. Point three, it doesn't give empowerment to the people. People will have to submit their data and they need to follow instructions. They need to wait for following instructions, which can derail some of the organization plans. Doesn't empower, doesn't help people to take quick decisions. Yes. Then come decentralized planning, owned by businesses, where buyer can take over buying decisions. So at some places you can see that we have, some of the companies started doing planning in their departments, and they implemented different software. You see here, sales department implemented Anaplan software. This marketing department implemented Tableau. This guy implemented some software. Yes. And some people are also doing the old way of planning. So some are old, some are new, some implemented software. In this case, yes, it gives empowerment to the people, but the data is then distributed across multiple systems. Yes, multiple systems. So this brings down the transparency. So the disadvantage of this way of planning was a lack of transparency and also the delays because the data has to move now between the systems. Now, what is changed with SAC? SAP Analytics Cloud changes the way we work. It allows real-time integration using connections, data connections with SAP solutions like C4 HANA, Ariba, SuccessFactor, Concur. So travel and expense department use SAP Concur software. SAC can integrate. Yes. HR department use SuccessFactor. SAC can integrate. Procurement department use Ariba. SAC can integrate. Marketing department use C4 HANA, CRM for HANA. SAC can integrate. Finance department use S4 HANA Finance. SAC can integrate. So at every point we have integration with the SSC and it's a unified solution to do planning in the cloud. Since it's cloud, the implementation time is less. It brings in the speed, it increases the trust, it brings the transparency, and every data is real time. And the data exchange between the systems happens smoothly because they are all SAP. Yeah. So this is the way SAC is changing the way world of planning since the past till today. A planning is also known as collaborative planning when it comes to SSE because there is a lot of back and forth collaboration. Let's say a HR in your company decides to increase the headcount by 10 people in your team. Your manager requested 10 new resources. Let's say they requested 5 ABAP resources and 5 analytics cloud resources. For that, it cannot just happen that manager decided and they started hiring. No, it cannot. First, the proposal goes to HR team. HR team will then do the planning. They will say where to position these people, how much salary we need to pay. Then the HR has to get this proposal to their HR manager. HR manager has to approve. From there, it goes to finance. Finance will ask the CIO for approval. The CIO will approve, the budget will come, and HR can then start hiring. So there is a lot of collaboration which is involved. That's why it's called collaborative planning. So in the process of planning, we first start again with the data set. We prepare the data. So you remember the process of BI, yes, where we had requirement, data collection, all the steps. Similarly, these are the processes. This is the process which we follow for planning. Prepare. In prepare phase, we will create and adjust planning models, set our important drivers and parameters for planning, import master data and actual data. Then we have schedule. In the schedule, we will create planning calendars. We will start defining the tasks. Remember who is going to do, what they're going to do, and when it needs to be done. So you need to have a specific time when a specific task needs to carry out. For example, you get new budget for hiring in January. You not get it in December. So it is the January which is the right time to start the planning for hiring. Then we have starting processes and tasks done by specific people at specific time. Inform the planners and reviewers to take decisions and actions for reviewing the data. Now, we also do prediction. So based on the past experiences, Analytics Cloud also provides a smart assist feature, which helps us to take better and informed decision using prediction. Then you start planning where you adjust the data. You create versions of different data because you don't want to contaminate your original data. So we have versioning feature. We will learn that today. We have distribution, spreading, applying formulas, carrying out allocations. These are all the different things which we will do as part of the core planning. Finally, we have review data and creating reports which are projected to the business. We will do comparisons. Yes, different level of comparisons. And finally, we submit the data and the data gets logged for further editing and the plan is being executed. This entire process, at the center of it, we have collaboration where we share data, share stories. We will take out decisions and also maintain comments. Yes, we will learn about collaboration features of SSC soon. So Now let's understand in this process what is that which what activities we do in SSE. So let me draw here a diagram to explain you what activities we will be typically doing in SSE. So the first activity we'll start is modeling, as you all know, and we will be modeling, of course, now planning model. What is so special about planning model? I will explain you soon. Then we have what if analysis. We will have updates. We will have visualization. Then we have allocation. We have predictive forecast. We have data actions, value driver trees, and we finally have collaboration. So I know some of you not understand what I have written here, but don't worry. We will be learning all of these. This is what all SAP Analytics Cloud will support. Yes, SSE will support all these features. So we will be learning all these features. So in the modeling, what do we actually do? We will, when it comes to modeling, we will first collect all the data. So let me note down here. So we will collect data. Then we will model all dimensions. We then create calculations. We will import data in the model. We will do currency conversion setting. Yes, because at times your financial data coming from different sources can be in different currencies like euros, INR, AED. You cannot take up the decisions based on just one currency. You have to convert everything to a single currency. Then we have currency settings, we have conversion rates. We will apply, add new dimensions, enrich data with new dimensions, set up hierarchies if needed. This is all what we do when it comes to modeling. We model our data. Next comes is visualization and what if scenario, what if analysis. In this process, we will perform direct entry. We will do distribution. Yes, spreading. We will create variance chart. Yes, we will be creating variance chart. We will copy paste data. We will create threshold. We will do asymmetric report. We will do formulas, forecast. So all these things we will be taking over when it comes to what if scenario. We'll do allocation, predictive forecasting, data actions. Data actions have plain data action and collective data action, including data action triggers. Then we have value driver trees and collaboration, of course. In collaboration, we have different features like calendar, direct data entry, comments, sharing using collaboration center, and also sharing the stories. So these are the terms which we will be coming across soon, and I will explain each and every term to you in detail. Why do we do what we do? We will understand the functional meaning. This is what makes my training different from other places. Majority of the trainer will just come to the system, they will do some clicks, show you the output and run away. Perhaps you may not understand the functional reason or functional reasoning behind what we do in this system. So our training is more real time, oriented towards practical. so that you can understand functionally what does it mean. Yes, that's very important. That's the main focus of this training, to make you comfortable, make you understand functional meaning of everything in the system. Okay, now before I start modeling, before I start creating and explaining you the planning model and its benefits and building it, let's understand some of the planning jargons which we use very oftenly in finance. So it's all about profit, it's all about numbers, it's all about how your company operate. Yes, so in your company, when you operate, you have different matrices to calculate profit. Now just think in a simple way, your salary slip. So every one of you are working in one or the other companies, you get a salary slip, and you and your wife or your girlfriend or your family will plan for the budget of your house. So you will have X amount of salary incoming, and then you have Y amount of expenses. So let's say I get $100 salary, and out of which I pay for utility bills like electricity, internet, and telephone, and also television. I pay like $10. And then I have living expense of $20. I have travel expense of about $5, and then maybe I have some more expenses related to my day-to-day needs, buying groceries, uh, different expenses we do have. And then there are some sudden expenses which also comes on day-to-day life. So with X minus Y1, Y2, Y3 are these expenses, and at the end you have also paid taxes out of your salary. And finally you will have a take home savings at the end of it, right? So you have investments and you have savings, final savings. So that's your salary slip. In a same way, if you look at a company level, a company is also have a very similar structure. So company will sell products, usually products and services. Company will make X amount of revenue out of it, minus they will have expenses like company pay for loans, pay salaries, buy invest in new technology, new machinery, blah blah blah. And that way company prepares a P&L statement. So let's look at a P&L statement of a company as an example. You can see this is some demo data for you. We have in millions 2011 2012 data for a company as a sample. We have net sales, and net sales is equal to price multiplied by number of products you develop. So a company, let's say, produce car. Each car cost 10,000. So you produce 10 cars. So 10 into 10,000 is equals to 1 lakh. So you get your net sales. Minus, you will do a cost of goods sold. So how much time or how much money it take you to make that car. Yes, so you buy steel, you buy wheels, you buy engine, and you assemble the car. You have labor cost, you have, you know, all the costs like shipping cost, packaging cost of that car, marketing cost, everything you calculate and subtract. So the parenthesis indicate it's a negative contribution. So you subtract and you get your gross profit. Then you have operating expenses which are every time, like every month you don't put new machines, but every month you pay salary, you pay loans, right? So that's your operating expense. So you subtract, then you get operating profit 700. Then you have other income or other expenses, like say your company have taken loan, so you pay $100 into the loan. Then you also have extraordinary gains. So like some companies, they are diversifying their investment. If you heard about Tesla, Tesla is also bought Bitcoin as an investment, right? Tesla also invested on other technologies. They have partnership with other companies. So then you have extraordinary gains, which comes as a add-on on top of gains from your core, not from your core business, but extra gains. Plus you plus that and minus interest expense. You pay for interests, yes, or rents, and then you have profit before tax, which is 800. Now, of course, you pay taxes, yes, X amount of tax, and this is your net income in your company. So just think of your salary slip and think of this data. You'll be able to understand that in a simple way. So now if you say planning jargons, let's understand. these jargons over here. Some of the jargons. So first is called revenue or net sales. What is revenue? What is the definition of revenue? It's the total amount of goods and service which is produced by an organization in a given span of time is called revenue. So you, let's say you are a pen manufacturer. So you manufacture 10,000 pens and each pen costs 10 rupees or 100 rupees. So you have total 1 million is what is your revenue, because when you sell all those pens, yes, you have your revenue. So revenue is an indicator of how big your organization is. Some company have revenues in several hundred crores. So that is an indicator of how big the company is. If you take the same data for a country, the figure which you are, these days very much popular word called GDP. Yes. So if you see the same figure for a country, then it's a GDP. It's called GDP, goods, gross domestic product, GDP. So you might have heard on news channels that GDP of this company is down, GDP is reducing for Europe, GDP is increasing, yes, for India. So this is what is also for a country level, just like a company. Country is also, think of a big organization. So for a country, this is called GDP. So next time you hear in news channel, it's just about how well that country is doing in terms of goods and services. Yes. Then comes is gross revenue. Gross revenue is nothing but the total income earned by the company in a specific period. Yes. So that is your gross revenue. So total income earned by a company in the specific period. So when it comes to a function of time, let's say if I look at a window of 3 months, how much was my gross revenue? So let's say you manufactured 10,000 pens, but maybe in the market there is no demand. So you have a revenue, you produce something, but it's not consumable by the market. Market doesn't buy it. So gross revenue is zero, but revenue is very high, right? So you perhaps sell it at different price at different time. What you sell it as, eventually you produce the gross revenue. So usually the function of revenue is unit, how many units you produce multiplied by price. Next comes is the concept of net revenue. What is net revenue? So let's say Tesla produce 5,000 Tesla cars. Out of these 5,000 cars, 1,000 car come back to Tesla because of defect, right? So technically speaking, only 4,000 cars were consumed by the market. So the net revenue is equal to gross revenue minus returns, right? As a responsible company, they will accept the returns, which will help them to increase the brand value of a company. So net revenue is basically gross revenue minus returns minus discounts also. Sometimes companies will give discounts, so that will also get subtracted from the gross revenue. Now we have the next one called gross profit, GP. Gross profit is nothing but its net revenue minus cost of goods sold. Yes. So cost of goods sold includes raw material cost, machines, utility bills, electricity, labor cost, packaging cost, shipping cost. Yes. All these costs are the cost how much it took your company to produce that product. Net revenue minus cost of goods sold. Then we have gross margin percentage. It's always calculated in percentage. The gross margin. It is gross profit divided by net revenue. So let's say I produce a pen. I produce at a cost of 5 rupee and I sell it as 10 rupee. Yes. You can clearly make out the margin is very high. Yes. So almost 50% margin is there. But if I produce a car at 100 bucks and I sell it only 102 bucks, my gross margin is very low. So it is an indicator of the kind of business you are into. Usually, if you see businesses like pharmaceutical, the gross margin is very high. IT, yes, in IT like TCS, Accenture, gross margin is very high because the cost to build the product, the cost to build a product is comparatively very low, and you have a very good profit. Yes, your company will live on a cash. So, however, FMCG business, fast moving consumer goods like hair oil, beauty creams, toothpaste, all these are products where you have very less gross margin, but the kind of volume you play is very high. So that increases overall profitability of a company. So then we have operating profit. This is also calculated in percentage. We have it operating income divided by net revenue. So a company is basically running the business. Their gross margin is high, but the number of orders they are getting is very low, or they are spending too much. Yes, because of that, their operating income is not going up, or maybe there are too many returns. The quality of the product they are making is very bad. Since there are too many returns, their operating income is very low as compared to revenue. Revenue is very high, but the number of defects coming in their product is very high. They are offering discounts to attract customers. This will bring down the operating income. So it is an indicator of how good the products of the company are, and how well positioned the company in terms of competition. That is what an indicator called operating profit is all about. Then we have operating expense ratio. Operating expense ratio indicate it's an indication of how well the company is managing their expenses. Are the expenses in the control? So we have operating expense divided by net revenue. Yes. Operating expense ratio, operating expense divided by net revenue. How well company is managing their expenses? Are they spending too much versus what they're earning in the company? So this is how exactly we have different planning jargons which we use in order to build our analytic data. So these formulas and these basics needs to be helpful for you, even though you are not from commerce background. I know majority of you are engineers. You study engineering. You've not gone through any financial training or any commerce training, but it will actually now it is easy for you to understand what we will do soon in the system. At least some basics of finance is always helpful. Yes. So I got this information from a book for financial accounting because I am very much interested to learn about finance, how to read financing data. The first thing which we learn as a finance information is our salary slip. Yeah, that's the first thing when we get a new job, we start learning about finance. So then we start learning about savings and then start investment. So that is what is important. If you understand those basic terms, Analytics Cloud is also for you where you can do a lot of planning. In fact, you can use Analytics Cloud to do your household budget planning as well. What you do in a plain paper, you can do it with SSC. We'll see some examples. Okay, moving on. Let's begin now with the step number one, building model. So as I taught you that there are different types of model in Analytics Cloud. We have BI versus planning, embedded versus public, and we have live versus acquired, and we have new versus classic. So today we will start with planning model, how different it is, and how it is better, or how it is different from the BI model. So in the previous episodes we build more of a BI model, but today we'll build the planning model. So let's understand what is important and some of the important certification questions as well when it comes to planning models. So first of all, planning data always have version and category. Yes. What do you mean by version and category? So a version is basically, it will tell you the life cycle of the data. There are three categories which are supported as planning version categories: actuals, forecast, and budget. These are versions, these are version categories supported by Analytics Cloud out of the box. Out of the box, actually. Yes. So, what is actuals? Current facts about data based on most recent experience. Yes. Example, at the end of the this quarter or this month, what is my sales? So you can see already the month is ending today. It's the end of July. And what is my sales in the month of July? What is my sales at the end of, let's say, this quarter? Based on the real facts, based on what has already happened, you know it, it's truth. It's basically truth. The data is in the system and you can calculate things based on actuals. So actuals is always about your current transaction data in the system based on real business. So what is happened real? Yes, by far in your company, it is actuals data. You can consider it's a past data. Yes, what has actually happened. Then we have budget. What is budget? So I know you all have heard this word called budget. A country also have their budget. A household also have their budget. So budgeting is nothing but it's a financial direction of where a management wants to see the company. It will help company to qualify expectation of revenue that businesses wants to achieve in the future period. So that is what budget is all about. It's about the financial direction of where management wants to see or take the company. Yes, it helps laying out the plan for the future qualifying expectations. Yes, future qualifying expectations of revenue that businesses want to achieve for the future period. Yes, this decides our company's top and bottom line. So our top line and our bottom line will be decided using the budget data. Using the budget data, our company's top line. Top line means, or bottom line means, this much you have to make this year in order to survive. If your company doesn't qualify that bottom line, you will be incurring losses in your business. That's a bottom line. Top line, it's good that you achieve this. If you achieve the top line, then all the bonuses, all the promises made to the shareholders are met. Yes, that's your budget. Then comes his forecast. What is forecast? Forecast will tell whether the company is headed in the right direction. So whether the company is headed in the right direction to achieve what was planned as per budget. So budget is a long term direction where management wants to see the company. Let's say at the end of this month, we expect a 1 million sales. Yeah, that's the budget. but are we heading in the right direction? So if you want to go from A to B, there are multiple points you have to cover. For example, if you want to go Delhi to Mumbai, for sure in the middle you will have you will have Kota coming, right? You will have in the middle Surat coming. So if you're going from direction in a direction, after let's say you start 8 hour, 9 hour, 10 hour, you must see Surat, you must see Ahmedabad. Yes, you should see some city which is in the middle. Yes, that will tell you that yes, we are heading towards Mumbai, we are heading towards the right direction. So forecast is basically going to do a quick health check about are we heading in the right direction towards what we planned at the beginning of the year. So budget is all about long term, let's say 1 year, 1 quarter, and forecast is about short term, like 1 week, 1 month, 1 quarter when it comes to yearly planning. Yes, so this will help us estimating the amount of revenue and income that is achieved or in a short term period. So a market sentiment about our company is decided by forecast. You recently have heard that Microsoft or let's say Apple have decided to bring down their forecast, or some of the countries like European countries decided their GDP forecast. Yes, GDP forecast to come down because of the war. Yes, so it is all about how close or in the near term what do you expect economy, what do you expect company to do in a near term. Yeah, that's a forecast. It brings or it creates the market sentiment. Forecast is all about market sentiment. If I would like to draw this information on a single plot, if I wanted to explain the difference between the actual and the budget, so let's say if I just take a simple example of company sales data. Yeah, if I have a company and I have sales data of a company, then if I want to take an example, let's say on month basis, so we have January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, something like this, and this is my sales of the company, and this is the time in months. So in the month of January I had this sales, February this, April, May, June, and July. Yes. So if I join these points, yes. So till now we are at the end of July, and this is my sales till now. What is this data? This is actuals based on most recent past experience, what has actually happened in the system by far. If I want to see budget, so I want to see at the end of October, company should see this sales. This is my budget. This is where I want to this is where I want to see company, the target. Yes, this is my budget. Now, are we, if we want to reach here, where should the chart head? In which direction should the chart head? Anyone? Up direction or low direction? If you want to reach to this point, the chart should head in which direction? Of course, chart should head in the upper direction, right? So let's say in the next month I forecast that we will be here. Then next month I forecast that we will be here. The next month I forecast we will be here, and next month I will see. So you can see this is your forecast. It's a short term. If you want to reach here, you should forecast like this. This should be the trajectory it should follow to reach to here. So this is your forecast. You do not have the data, but based on past experience you're forecasting. So I forecast today it's going to rain. It's a prediction. It's a prediction for the very near future. Yeah, everybody clear what's the difference between actual forecast and budget data? Because in analytics cloud we will be using these terminologies. These are out of the box versions provided by SSC, and we will be doing and using this information. Okay, moving on. So what else is more about planning model? So let's continue planning model. Some of these are very important terms which I'm describing to build a planning model. So now comes is the second point. It is mandatory to have time or date dimension. for the planning model. Yes, it is mandatory to have date and time dimension for planning model, guys. Yes, it's mandatory. You must have date and time dimension for planning model. We can have the organization dimension also. We can also have something called organization dimension, which is optional, not mandatory. Example, business entity. Yes, so this is basically location of where all business is located. So we have a factory in Pune, we have a factory in Jamshedpur. So like that, we have a business entity, which is an organization or a department. It can have, we can also have hierarchies of different kind in planning data. Both level based and parent child hierarchies are supported, like region. Then inside that you have country. A country is divided into states. States are divided into cities. Cities are divided into the entities. So you have, let's say in Pune, you have two factories. So you have Indo-Pacific, Japan, India, Pune, Maharashtra, Pune, and in Pune you have two entities, two different subsidiaries of your company. Yes, this is another aspect of a planning model when it comes to hierarchies. Then we have account dimension. So this is very different from what you did in the BI model. That is the most critical part of a planning data model, the account dimension. What is the account actually in context of planning model? So it represent a GL account in finance. What is a GL account? General ledger. So you see this net sales is a GL account. Cost of goods sold is a GL account. Cost of raw material, machine, labor, packaging, damages, shipping, returns, discounts, all these creditors, debitors, debentures, shares, loans, bank, suppliers, customers. Yes, all these are GL accounts. All these are GL accounts. So a in the planning, a account dimension represents a GL account in the finance. Yes, example, um, creditors, from where you take the loans, you take money on the lend. Debitors, you give the, yeah, you give the, you give the material in advance. Debitors, creditors. Yes, operating profit. Yes, revenue, gross revenue, sales. Yes, price. Yes, discounts, returns, everything. All these are account dimension. So we have some account dimension which contribute positive and some contribute negative. So each account dimension are either going to contribute positive and negative, or have no impact. They are neutral and non-finance. Yeah. So can anyone tell me what is operating profit? Is it a positive account dimension or is it a negative account dimension? Operating profit. Is it a positive account dimension or is it a negative account dimension? Anyone? Positive or negative? Positive.
Could be both.
Because no, operating profit is always positive. Net sales is always positive, you see. Net sales is always positive. Yes, gross profit, operating profit, they're always positive. Yes. What is labor cost? Is it a positive or negative account dimension? Labor cost. It's a negative account dimension because it will subtract. So you see anything which is inside parenthesis, it's subtracting. That's a negative. Then what is customer satisfaction index, customer rating? Is it a positive or is it a negative contributor? Customer rating, it's non-financial. Why? because customer rating have no direct impact on your numbers. It has indirect impact. Yes, it has indirect impact on your reputation of a company. But if a customer buy your product and yet yuck you, yes, let's say somebody buy Nano, Tata Nano car. So they buy it. Yes, there is a demand for it, but they yuck that product. They're not happy with that product. But what can they do? That's the only option people have if they want to go in the lowest segment of a car, right? Yes. So that is how we have this account dimension: positive, negative, and non-finance. Now moving next, we have we have got positive and negative contribution. Account dimension usually form a hierarchy, a parent-child hierarchy, to be very honest. That's what account dimension will follow. It's a parent-child hierarchy. It is used to record, and based on the formulas, we calculate many other account dimension. Yes. Example: do you need to put the value of gross profit? No, you don't need to. Why? Because it is calculated at runtime. 2000 minus 900 is 1100. So this is a account dimension which is calculated account dimension. So if you build a hierarchy, the hierarchy would look like: gross profit is the parent, it has net sales, and it has cost of goods sold. So net sales is 2000, which is a positive contributor, and cost of goods sold is 900, which is a negative contributor. You can simply calculate the value of this parent node of this hierarchy. Of course, 2000 minus 900. So this is 1100. So this is a calculated account dimension based on its children's. So this is called parent-child hierarchy, how you maintain in SSE. So you'll see when we do this in SSE, it will calculate majority of your account dimension values at runtime by itself. Yeah, by itself. So this is what will happen. Then yes, we know the positive and negative and non-financial. These are the three categories where we'll put account dimension for an account can have different values over time and over versions. So let's say gross profit. Gross profit, I can have three values: one actual gross profit till now, one budget, and one is forecast. So I can have three values for different versions of gross profit or for an account dimension. And also over time. So over time, gross profit quarter one, quarter two, quarter three. So over time and over versions, we will have different values of our account dimension. Remember, time is a very important dimension in planning model. Without time dimension, without defining time dimension, you cannot create a planning model in analytics cloud. It's impossible. Yes, time is a mandatory dimension. So we can additionally apply currency conversion based on exchange rates, which we can maintain in SSE. So you can maintain the exchange rates inside analytics cloud, and we can apply based on these exchange rates which we maintain. We can apply a currency conversion. Why? Because it's not good idea to add a total euro with USD, with AED, with CAD, with INR. You should not, right? So there are two ways where we can do the rate maintenance. Rates are based on average or fix. So what is fix and what is average? So if you notice that the currencies are traded in an open market, recently you saw the euro and US dollar, their pack was 1 to 1. Earlier the euro was almost 83, USD was 72, 70 something. Now they are cut to cut 80-80. Both have dollar have touched 80, euro has come down to 80 because of recession fears in Europe. So they both are cut to cut now. So rates are keeps on changing for exchange rate. When the war started, the ruble which is Russia's currency, it has collapsed, and suddenly they did took some measures which has helped ruble to come back to a competitive position. So the currency rates are keeps on changing. So when you report your financial numbers, you want to report them in a common currency, let's say euro or USD, and then there will be currency conversion which is required. So one option is you can do it on a fixed closing rate of the month, which is fixed rate. Another, you can take out an average. So if the currency fluctuation is too high, we take an average of the currency rates and use those rates to do currency conversion. Yes, that is how we can do the currency conversion in SSC. So we have two options to choose to maintain these rates. Now let's go ahead and create our planning model. But for that, again, we need a scenario, right? So as you know, this is a real time training and we would always develop examples and applications and dashboards based on the real time scenario. So I will present to you the scenario. So let's take a quick break for 5 minutes. On the other side of the break, we will begin with our scenario. We'll understand the scenario. We'll understand the data set, and then we will create today a planning model in SAP Analytics Cloud by following all the steps and understanding all the planning jargons. We'll do all these steps to including currency conversion. Also, I'll show you with a planning model in the system. So I'll be back in 5 minutes. Stay tuned. We'll join after 5 minutes. Okay, everyone, welcome back after the break. So let's begin our scenario for the planning, and we'll understand our user persona, developer persona, and we'll also understand our data set for planning. So come back to the UI, and I'll start with our design scenario. So meet Stephanie Meyer. She's a 36-year-old young financial expert. Stephanie Meyer is a gold medalist from Cambridge University and recently joined one of the multinational company named as Global Company in Kings County. She is certified IFRS accounting expert in US accounting standards and also has exposure working in all the financial departments in the company. She is a guest lecturer to many chartered firms across North America region. She is self-motivated, agile, and very hardworking woman. She had traveled to all the company's subsidiaries in the last 3 years and understand the structure of the company and its organizational units and departments. Stephanie is known for her expertise in business planning, risk assessment, cross HR planning, operations across the region, and has high exposure to the changing global environment and their impact on the company. She has a long track record of publishing papers on global corporation, financial planning, and procedures. She has total 12.5 years of experience in working SAP S4HANA Finance, BPC, integrated planning, using SAP IBP, and worked on all the kinds of levels of planning in the organization. She holds a CFP credential as a professional designation to establish her qualifications and knowledge base. What are job functions of Stephanie as a planner? She worked closely with individuals and corporations to help company achieve their financial goals, plan for company budgeting, investing, saving, and tax planning, allocate the resources in the best possible way across different units and regions of the company to take the best advantage of the talent, improve the company finance, and squeeze the profit out of all regions, provide the forecast for the future based on the actuals, plan for the budget to help company to set up bottom line and top line. This way company can present their goals to the shareholders, prepare quarterly, yearly balance sheet and P&L statements, run different types of what if simulations to make businesses understand more about the current trajectories, work closely with the different department and help them providing right financial statements. Stephanie received the company's financial data, actual and forecast of the sales region, the country entity product from CFO recently. Her company recently purchased planning professional license of SAP Analytics Cloud. The CFO of the company want to visualize overall current progress of company's financial and prepare for upcoming quarters. So Who is the provider of the data? It's a CFO, Chief Financial Officer of the company. So Stephanie goes to CFO and CFO provides this data. The below document describe key design requirement and design goals for using SAP Analytics Cloud to prepare financial statements like P&L statements and SSC dashboard on planning model. Please make sure that you pay attention to the planning jargons which I have explained during the session, which is going to become a back base for you to build this kind of dashboards. So first comes is the provided data by CFO, and it's the transaction sheet where you can see company has different versions of data, actual and forecast, with the numbers on different dimensions like product, pricing, yes, product category, different data sets, data is there. Let me open the data set for you. This is our data set in transaction sheet, where you can see here these are transaction values over a period of time. You see the time is YYYYMM. Then we have the account dimension. So these are the account dimension and their hierarchies. As I explained you, it's each of them represents a GL account like discount, returns, gross sales, revenue, net revenue, gross profit. All these are account dimensions. So you see some are positive contributions, contributor income, INC, positive contributor. Some are negative contributor, expense, EXP. And then some are non-financials. So these are positive and negative contributors. Then we have exchange rate type, which will be used for currency conversion, the type of unit, and also hierarchy. So hierarchy is also well defined over here. As you can already see that we have the value H11110, which is a gross revenue, and all the gross sales, retail, return, discount, everything is a child of this gross revenue. So you see this is the ID and the parent ID you see 11110. Yes. So we will see this, and don't worry, in the system I can visualize the parent child hierarchy for you. Then we have currency exchange rates maintained over here in the system. We will be utilizing that. So let's go ahead and now start building our model. The very first activity which we should do is maintain currency exchange rates in Analytics Cloud. So Analytics Cloud can do currency conversion for us based on these exchange rates. So if you come down, so we have here the currency conversion rates. These are the rates you can see. So let's go ahead and maintain the currency conversion rate first of all. So upon importing this sample data, sales data into the Analytics Cloud, Stephanie supposed to create planning model, prepare financial reports, explore SSE planning functionality, and execute the use cases described in this document. So let's go first maintain currency rates. So I'll switch over back to Analytics Cloud system. I go to modeler and I can go to now currency conversion, and let me import and maintain currency rates. So I click on create and I say currency rates. Yes, Stephanie maintains currency rates. I come back and I just copy and maintain that here. You can see I maintain the currency rates. Click on save. Done. This step is completed. Next step is to go back and maintain transactions. So for this, we switch over back to modeler, and now we will create a new model from CSV file. Guys, you need to pay attention to the steps, and later on, once the class is complete, please follow these steps carefully, meticulously, the way I'm showing you in the same order. So let's import the file. I'll go to the file path and I import this file in Analytics Cloud system to create our planning model. Open. You can see it's picking up all the sheets. We will import the transaction sheet from my Excel file. Data is importing, And as you all know, the data will import and go into the draft. So once the data is imported, it'll open up the draft for us. Data remains in the draft for 7 days until you create a model. So now I come here, you can see system has opened up the data set for me. The very first check which you got to do is enable planning. Yes, we enable planning, and you see it's immediately asking date dimension. Remember the first rule of the game, date is a mandatory dimension and system is unable to detect the date at the moment in our data set because the format of the date is something which was not auto recognized. So if I scroll to the right, you see this time dimension was detected as a normal dimension, as a flower. I select and I choose here the date dimension. Yes. So I manually go and mark, and you see now it detects the date format is YYYYMM, and the icon changed to calendar. We switch over back to modeler, and now you see it detected the time dimension as a date dimension for planning model. Then you can maintain default currency. So in this case, default currencies is USD, which means all the values eventually will convert to US dollars. No matter which currency their values are, they will eventually get converted to USD. Okay, so now we will start defining hierarchies. So let me go back here. We'll start marking description properties and hierarchies. Why description properties? Because when you display the data to the user, you don't want to show codes. Let's say employee have code I01. Abhishek is the name of employee. I02 Ananya. I03 Reshma, right? So when you display the data, you don't display I01, 02, 03. User will not understand. You want to show description. Yes, Abhishek, Ananya, Reshma. That's what we want to show in the output. So that's why we have to define descriptions. So we have maintained this description. So let's first select entity, mark entity as organization dimension, very important. And now we maintain here additional properties. Description for the entity is represented by entity description. Now we will maintain add additional attribute as property because I want to add this hierarchy level 1 and 2 as a property. Later on, I will show you how to create a hierarchy on top of it. Yes. So in today's episode, in the last episode, I showed you creating hierarchy by directly selecting and clicking them and clicking this button to create a hierarchy out of the box. But today, I will show you that it is also possible to create hierarchy at later point of time when you truly need it. Yes, we will learn that. So in the last episode, I show you one way of doing hierarchy. Today, I'll show you different way of doing hierarchy. So we selected and we clicked this button last time to create hierarchy. But today I'll not do that. I'll create hierarchy after creating the model. But for now, I'll make hierarchy level 1 for entity and hierarchy level 2 for entity as a property. So I add it as a property, hierarchy level 1. Next, hierarchy level 2. Then I will maintain something called currency, entity currency. Yes, that's what I do. Yes, I have latitude, longitude. Actually, this column is not required at the moment, so I can just select them and I can go to delete these columns. We don't need them at the moment. Just keep the data very clean. Then what we did for entity, we do for product. But remember, entity is org dimension, but product is a normal dimension. So let's select product, add description, link it with product description. And let's also maintain properties for product H1, L1, hierarchy level 1. And also add another property, hierarchy level 2 for product. You can notice a flower is changing into minus symbol. Yes, this minus symbol. Earlier it was flower. So the moment you make a property as a child property, it loses its identity being flower and it actually become minus to indicate that it is a child of the product. So minus indicate is a children of a another property. Now you see there is a red mark coming at front of product. Yes, let it be, no problem. We are still fine with it because I'll tell you the reason why this red mark is coming. It's coming because of hash data, but we still want to keep that hash data. I'll explain you the reason at later on. Okay, now come to flow. Make a description property for flow. Come to audit. Make a description property for audit. Yes. And now if you go back to flow, yes, this is the flow description. You see it's coming in the red color. So you go back again to the data set and you see here it comes as hashtag NA. So what you do is this hash you remove and just rename this hash, replace with NA. NA means not applicable or not assigned. So this error of not assigned will go away. Same for audit you do. Guys, I'm again telling you, this is the most critical part of doing planning in SSC. Please do this meticulously, step by step, the way I'm showing you. If you do mistakes here, if you do mistakes, you have to do the entire process again. It will not work. Yeah, you have to do properly. Okay, next is the version. As I taught you the concept of there are three versions supported by SSC: budget, planning, budget, forecast, and actuals. So now we will map this version column and mark it as a version. So because we have the forecast and actuals data over here. So we go back and now we can choose it as a version type. Once it is done, we will click this map version because we will tell the system that please map the version data to SAP Analytics Cloud. So click on that. It auto detects that, okay, these are the versions in your data and these are the versions supported by Analytics Cloud. I say okay. You will see the icon will change to a different icon called this versions. Yes, which is showing different directions. Fantastic. Now, one thing, since we are choosing model to import data, there is only and only one measure which you can have called value measure. You cannot have more than one measure. Cannot have more than one measure if you are using classic planning model. Classic planning model only and only have one measure strictly, strictly only and only one measure strictly, strictly. So can we keep these as blank instead of NA? You can try, but I never tried. You can try that out when you're trying it, when you're doing it, okay? But I think NA is the safest option. Okay, so what? Just a repeat, we added entity as org, we added description, currency, hierarchy level 1 and 2 for entity as a child properties. We also had product with product description, hierarchy levels as part of hierarchy as a child property for product. Same for flow and audit. We corrected the data anomalies in product flow and audit by replacing hash with NA. Then we mark time dimension as date. Then we also choose version dimension as version type and we click on map version button to map it to SSC. Now comes is the most important account dimension. So let's also mark this as account itself. So account was not detected as account. Now I manually make it as account dimension. You will see the icon will change to this and let's add account description. Yes, fantastic. So these are the steps which we have done when it comes to building our data model. Yes, using the cards view. So we switch to cards view. Let's cross check in the requirement sheet. We upload the file. We mark the time dimension. Yes, just to summarize, we mark entity as org dimension and assigned also currency with descriptions. We mark account as account dimension. We define description and property for all dimension, which is account, product, and entity. We transform the data for invalid values, which were hashes with NA. We mark version dimension and click on map version in SSC. Then we set all the dimensions and property for the hierarchy level. Once the model is created, we will build the level based hierarchies for entity and product. So right now I not defined any hierarchy. I just mark child properties, But as a next step, we will be creating hierarchy after creating model. In the previous episode, I showed you creating hierarchy while creating model. We can still do it. It's not like we cannot. We can still. But my duty as a trainer to show different flavors, different flavors of doing same thing. So let's create this model. It's a planning model. It's a planning model. It's a planning model. First time in the history of this training, we are learning a planning model, guys. It gives me this issue, and I say, okay, no problem. I understand the meaning, and I say continue to create. I save this planning model going back to our content folder, models, planning model, and this is our first planning model. I just remove Anubhav. Okay. So now the model is being created step by step, guys. Be very careful. When I learn planning model, in the first go, I cannot create it. I practice. Every day I practice. I practice so much for about almost 2 to 3 weeks to get one planning model created for the first time when I started with SSE. Yes. Okay. Now we're done. The planning model is created. Yes. The next thing which we need to do is to look at the model structure just to check. So I switch to model structure and you see we have version, dimension, account dimension, time dimension, product flow and audit are generic, and org dimension entity. Entity has a currency also. Wow. Wow, Anubhav. Wow. Okay. So next thing, immediately we will define a hierarchy now for product and entity. So I go to product, come down, and you see this option to create hierarchy. So since there are more than two attributes which are children of the product, we always can choose level based hierarchy. If there are exactly two childrens, then we will have parent child also. But now choose level base. Yes. And I'll define my level myself. So let's first give the ID of the hierarchy. So I can say product LBH product level base. Okay. So now I drag drop hierarchy level 1 and hierarchy level 2. Yes. So hierarchy level 1, hierarchy level 2. These are my levels for building my product hierarchy. Fantastic. I'm happy. So you see first we have all products. Yes. And you can change the order if you want, guys. You can see all products, and then all products will have apparel and footwear as product category. And apparel will have then shirts, t-shirts, jeans, trousers. Footwear will have lady shoe, kid shoe, gents, formal shoes, sport shoes, right? So these are the hierarchy. Click OK. Same, you click entity, come down, create a level based hierarchy, choose the ID, entity LBH, and I add this H1L1, H1L2. So you see H1L1, enterprise have United States and overseas, and then below we have regions. Click OK. So this way you can create hierarchy right after creating model also. One interesting thing you notice, there is a star here. What it indicates? It indicates that there was some change which you did to these dimensions, but you forgotten to save. Yes, you forgotten to save these changes. There are changes here. So of course, I will just save. Nice. Done. So as a next step, what we will do once the hierarchy is created, we'll go to model preference. This is very important aspect of a planning model. So first thing, it shows that it's a planning model. It's not possible, impossible to change this back to BI model once the model is created. You cannot. Yes. The layout type is account because it's a classic model. We have an account dimension in this model. I'll explain you the new model later on, the difference between classic and new model, but right now we live with the classic model. Then we can control data security and data auditing. If we want to audit, we want to log all the changes to be tracked, we can switch on the audit. Validation rule, I'll explain you later, but actually in planning, what you want to do is you want to validate that if you change certain data in a let's say sales, in a sales area, it belongs to a sales department. So you are only allowed to change data corresponding to your sales area. That's an extra bit of validation which we can carry out. We can also lock the data. We have a data locking tool in a productive account through which we can enable the data locks on the data set. So then we have restrict export. We don't want this data to be exported by anyone in the future. We can restrict the export so nobody can download our data. It's a sensitive data for planning. We can enable smart insight using search to insight using indexed model. We can switch on this setting, and then we can also have data access control for any of the dimensions. Suppose there is a sensitive data like salary, and if you want to control people do not access or see the data and control that centrally, you can switch on the data access control. Right now we are not discussing data security. Then come date setting. In India, our financial year starts from April, right? April to March. But outside India, there are different countries where the financial year starts from January to December. So we can control the financial year, fiscal year period by putting here, and we can choose say April. Yeah. But since I'm doing it right now for US customer, I will keep it off and I will assume that default is January as a starting of financial year. Yes. So that's what is the date setting. You can additionally go and change into the preference of a model. Then comes is planning. So we can again have the same settings which we saw in general settings, which is based on data locking and validation rule. Yes. Now you can see which dimension was selected as a time dimension. It also shows it here. The next and very interesting part is currency. In currency, you can choose a default currency to which all the conversion will happen. And if you want the currency conversion to happen based on the rates which we define, we switch it on. Please make sure that you switch it on. Yes. And then you come down to choose the currency rates which we maintain. Yes, it was this one, and time dimension. Maximum number of currency conversion are 4. So let's say the system doesn't have a rate from Chinese yuan to euro or Chinese yuan to USD. Yes. So your goal is to CNY to USD, but system doesn't have that rate. However, the system have rate CNY to euro, euro to INR, and INR to USD. SAP Analytics Cloud is smart to find out its path. So since we don't have a direct rate for CNY to USD, we don't have this direct rate is not there. But SAP Analytics Cloud can find, okay, there is a correlation and it can somehow reach to USD. So it can do multiple conversion, one, two, three conversions to reach to USD from yuan. Yes. So that is what we say maximum number of conversions are allowed as 4. So up to 4 time it can do conversions to reach to the final state if it can. Yes. I click on okay, structure priority. This is very important. So I told you that there is a concept called classic model versus new model. So in case of new model, we can choose which dimension we want to give as a measure. We want to go account dimension as a measure, or we have other measures which we want to give it as a priority. So this setting we can only change in new model, not in classic model. So currently the default model which was created was classic type. Yes. Though SAP recommend to create new model, but you see guys dilemma, the moment you import Excel file, it automatically creates as a classic model. It doesn't give me a choice. Yeah. So it's okay. It has created classic model and structure priority is account, which means this entire model is account based model, not a measure based model, which means account will combine all the measures. Then we have performance related things. So optimize story building. Okay, we don't care. We want to optimize. Let it optimize. So it has some internal optimization which system will carry out on our model to make our model more optimized automatically for improving performance. We just switch it on, doesn't matter, click OK. We are done with story preference and I will save now. So this completes the definition of my planning model. So you can see we created the hierarchies at the end, which are level based. We set the currency conversion on and we link it with our read. So the final model, how it look like, it's given here. You can see already version, account, date, generic, and organization. Organization have currency, and we also have hierarchies. So these are hierarchies you can make out. We have one hierarchy here for entity and one hierarchy here for product and one for account. So these are the steps. Now last step is to maintain the account hierarchy properly. So if you go inside account, right now you see only few members. We have about 28 members, but since we want to make financial statement, we need to maintain here the correct members and their respective hierarchy nodes. So this information is very critical and need to do it very, very slowly. Yes, you go back to our data set which I provided and go to account and start copying this account properties to the account dimension because it has a parent child hierarchy. So I'm just going to first copy this description and name, copy, come and paste. Guys, in this process of account dimension maintenance, please note that after you paste, don't press enter, don't press save until you finish entire thing. Okay, until you finish entire thing, you'll have a big problem because SSE will do a sorting automatically of your data. So let's come and first paste member and description. Don't press enter, don't press save, nothing until you finish maintaining all the values. This is very careful step. Now next, we maintain the hierarchy node. This is the second step. Copy, come and maintain hierarchy here. Done. Next, we maintain formula. So we don't have a formula at the moment. It's good. Yes. Next, we maintain account type. So account type is it positive contributor or negative contributor, which is income, expense, and non-financial. Let's put that. Rate type is average. It is taken automatically. You see average is good. Next, let's scroll right. Don't press enter key. Aggregation type. So aggregation type is here. Let's copy. You need to be very careful, guys. Very, very careful while copying this, pasting this. Otherwise, you'll have big problems. Now, you see some aggregation types are not detected. Let's make them as null. Yes, very nice. Next, we go back. Okay, what else? Exception aggregation don't have required dimension. We don't have scaling and decimal places. So we have the scaling millions and decimal places too. Let's copy. You need to be very, very careful, very slow. Slowly you have to do, guys, when you practice by watching my video. Super slow you have to go because any small mistake will cost you so much here. It will not work. Okay, done. Next, we have hiding. Okay, we don't want hiding. Anything else? Unit and currency. So unit and currency, yes, we forgot. So let's maintain unit and currency. I just copy unit and currency, maintain that. All right. So this is all done, everything done. Yes, everything looks good. Now you can see wherever we have this blank, yes, wherever we have this blank, just mark them as a root. So I click here, put it under the root, and you see for these two also, put it under the root. Yes, for time being. And now you save your account dimension. Very important, guys. This is a very critical and important step before you do anything. Yes, done. Next step, since it's a parent-child hierarchy, you can do hierarchy maintenance after building it in a graphical mode. So click this hierarchy button. Voila, there you go. You see finance, expand. You have operating income, key KPIs, drivers. You open operating income, gross profit and operating expense. If you go back to the jargons which I explained you see gross profit and operating income. Yes, you can see here gross profit operating income makes your operating income, gross profit and operating expense. Yes, so gross profit and operating expense, you see 11 1100, 400. Yes, you can see. If you expand further, gross profit have net revenue and cost of goods sold. So gross profit have net revenue and cost of goods sold. You see these two. That's what makes your gross profit hierarchy, right? So if you go net revenue, it's gross revenue and minus discounts. Yes. So net revenue equal to gross revenue minus returns minus discounts. You see the formula here. Financial jargons, guys. The hierarchy was set in exact same manner. Exact same manner, guys. Wow. Wow. Parent child hierarchy, guys. I can now move also these things easily. Yes, like this. I can move them under any hierarchy node. Yes, you see I moved it under finance. Yeah, let me move it under finance. So I go and move it under finance. You see, this is my hierarchy. Parent child hierarchy, guys. You must see exactly the same thing when you building it. I click on save. This completes our planning model. This whole process completes our planning model. So you saw we first did all these steps. After this, we extend our account dimension with additional data, including parent-child hierarchy. Yes, and now it's time that we can create a simple financial P&L statement out of this data to show the current actual profit and loss of the company. Yeah, just to make a financial P&L statement like the one which we saw in the planning jargon unit, we can now use this model and create our story. So once again, the hack, just copy the URL up to the hashtag, open a new tab because I want to keep my planning model also open, and we will create a story. Let's go to story, create a canvas page, click on create a canvas page, and I will begin with a table, existing model, and I will select the model. As we do, the process remains the same. Let's choose the planning model, which we just created few seconds ago into the system. So I choose the planning model, click OK. And maybe guys, I don't like the canvas page, I'll add a grid page. So for the first time in the history of our training, I'm teaching you the grid page. Remember, the grid page can never ever ever have charts, maps, or any other control. The only control which you can add inside a grid is a table, which is good for creating financial statements. So I click, I rename post, I can say P&L, and I'll click on table. I choose our model, click OK. The moment it picks up the model, it will allow me to choose properties of this model in the builder panel. So you can see in just few seconds, I should get my table. It's just doing it, guys. Just wait for a couple of seconds. It's connecting. Hopefully, I hope it does. Okay, let me try again. It's not, something is wrong. Let's go to canvas, try to add a table in canvas maybe. And you see it's going infinite loading, guys. This is the bug, you see. Now it will happen to you also. What is the solution? What do I do? So in my opinion, point one, it should never happen in a software. SAP is a responsible company. They built Analytics Cloud. If there is something wrong, it should give proper error message to the user. In my opinion, this is a defect in Analytics Cloud. It is dumping. It's dumping. It can be reported to SAP. Yes. It's a bug in SSA. Yeah. It's a bug. Anything which goes wrong due to our model, if something is wrong in our rates or model, Analytics Cloud should not go infinite loading. It's a bug in the tool. What should happen? It should educate the user. We are the users. It should give me an error, something like this, and should state the error carefully in a plain English that boss, this is something which is wrong. But unfortunate, I don't know. I have reported this also, but they're not listening. Yeah, maybe they don't know my data set. So anyway, I'll tell you how to troubleshoot this issue. Press F12 key on your keyboard, and now you can see what is the problem. If you just go back and add again, you will see the problem. So maybe I delete this guy right now. I will add the table again.
सर आपने क्या लिया है मतलब टेस्ट चेक करने के लिए एरर चेक करने के लिए
Press F12. F12 दबाया मैंने कीबोर्ड पे.
प्रेस
You can
F12
also use here this more tools, developer tools.
ओके ओके
Okay? ये खुल जाएगा. You go inside the console tab and you'll see the error here. Yes. You can also go to network tab and see other errors. If there are network errors, you can click. Yes, you can just say, yeah. So any error which you have it here, you will get to know many time. Sometime you get a clue, sometime you not get a clue. अब इसमें मुझे कोई clue नहीं मिल रहा what's going wrong. I have no clue. I have no clue what's going wrong. But I know guys what's the problem. Usually in planning model, if the moment you add a table, you get this error, it is because of currency rates not proper. Yeah. How can you find out and fix? You go back, go to modeler, open the currency conversion, and we recently maintained these currency rates. Go inside, and now you have this small button here called I button, add missing rates. Click on that. You choose the model. This is the only model where these rates are used. So now it will compile, it will execute, it will behind the scene do a error analysis against this model. And I can maintain US dollar. And I say, hey, can you please find out for me if there is something wrong? I click on search, and you see it has added two entries for me. Wow, it is missing that, and missing rate type for blank actually. For average you have it, but for blank you're missing. So you see CNY to USD for average we have, but for blank type it is missing. So let's maintain the same value. It's 0.16, or you can Google CNY Chinese yuan to USD. It is 0.15. And what is euro to USD? I told you that it's almost same nowadays. Due to the war, it's 1.02. And I click on save. Done. We maintain the rates. We go back to Analytics Cloud and we just do a refresh here. Voila! You can see, guys, it worked. My table come. My table come. Yes, my table come. So it come here. Yes, it has come. So it was a problem of currency rates. Yes. Now I just go back and I will choose filter on account dimension, and I will unselect everything and just select operating income to make a P&L statement. And you see here operating income, gross profit. If you can relate, you can exactly relate with our planning jargon slide. It's exactly the same slide which we had created for in the planning jargon when I explained planning jargon today. Net sales, cost of goods sold, gross profit. Yes, so you can see uh, gross revenue, discounts minus discount and net revenue. Gross profit is a function of net revenue and cost of goods sold. You can exactly match it. This is our first P&L statement. This is a evidence that our planning model creation was successful. हमारा planning model set हो गया है. This अगर ये आपका आ जाता है, it is a evidence. It is an evidence. It's a confirmation that you have successfully created your planning model and it's fully functioning. Yes, ये सारा value एक ही currency में आ रहा है USD में convert होके. It's a currency conversion is being done already behind the scene by SSC. Yes, since the rates were not maintained, it was dumping actually. Okay, I'll just save this story. So we can just go back more, save, and I'll just save it onto Anubhav stories, and I can say planning for my organization, and this is Stephanie Meyer. So click on OK, And that's my very first. So our today's main goal was to create a planning model, understand planning model, and also just test the planning model is working. We can also check the grid page now. So add a table, select. This is also working. You see grid page, and you can just go back to the page, choose account dimension, operating income, and I want to auto expand all my hierarchy. So click here the more option on the right side. Yes. Go to hierarchy and say show me only the leave widgets. Click set, and it will expand the entire hierarchy for you. There you go. You can see it has expanded the entire hierarchy for you. So this is your grid page. Yes, this is how you can create your grid page. So maybe we go back, hierarchy, and we switch off, set. It will come back in the hierarchical mode. We have a parent child hierarchy for account dimension, remember? That's why it is doing like this. It has come. You can expand, drill down up to level 3, and you'll see up to level 3 it has drilled down. So this is our simple P&L statement which we produced in a grid page. First time we saw the grid page with a planning model. This comes to the end of today's episode. Any questions before we close today's class?
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Sir, yesterday I had asked a question regarding this target and actual data. I was able to merge the variable, the two fields of on date which you had suggested that time.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but in BO we when we prepared the reports, there was a concept of merged variable. Okay, why don't we have it here? Because I had to drag and drop a date field from each of the model, or each of the from the actual models also, and the target model also.
Mhm.
Then it created a linked icon.
Yes. So anyway, you have to do it because you have to specify computer that we are linking based on the date. So until you not do that, we will not be able to define the relationship. That anyway you have to do.
No, that linking I have done, but after that, even to get the dates in both the dates in the table, I had to drag and drop both the the date field from both the what do you call it model.
Mhm.
While linking, can we give a variable name or name to that to those linked field like a merged variable or a merged field, and then
No,
use that
unfortunately,
merged
right now
field?
renaming is not allowed when you do blending.
And what is the use of variables, sir, in this modeling and story? I had seen there is a thing called variable or linked variable somewhere.
Where exactly you see the option? Can you guide me, please?
Sir, can you open any story that you have?
Mhm.
It was, yeah, here it, I think this, any story, sir. Ah. In data, there is curly braces. In data, there is curly braces. Just right off the, yes, sir. I think we can use it, but I was not able to get this.
Okay, I think it's a new feature. Let me explore this and come back to you. Okay.
Okay, sir. I'll also explore, try to explore.
Mhm. Yes. So what is the best way to explore? We have this option called help, and
Okay.
you can go to help and you can search, and you see,
Okay, sir.
yes, this way you can try out. You see the same button. Yes, what it does.
Yes, sir.
You see with examples they are showing.
Okay, okay.
You see.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Make sense? Mhm.
Yeah. Thank Thank you, sir.
Okay, Sandeep also have two questions. Can we get currency rates from a live data system? Let's give it a try. So we can go back and we can see currency rates. What are the techniques, please? So you have from BPC import. So unfortunately, live is not possible, Sandeep. Getting currency from live data model not possible, but a acquired data model it is possible. So you can connect to a BPC system where rates are maintained. You can select your connection and it will do a acquire. Acquire means it will load all the data from BPC, but it won't be live rates. Rates will not be live. They will not change over time in SAC. They will, once you import, let's say you import today morning, whatever is imported today morning, that remains stagnant for until the next time you do a re-import. So you cannot do live connection with the currency rates. That's not possible. Can we ignore few rows from Excel file and start uploading the data in SSC from a specific row to column? Yes, we can do that. That is something we will learn about when we create model manually. This model manual option you see. This one I will teach you in coming classes. That time you can ignore some of the rows, including even the live model. You can do filtering. You can do exclusion of records based on a criteria, and system will exclude them while importing the data into SSC. We can do that. So please wait for that next upcoming classes. You will learn that.
Also, sir, I have one more question.
Mhm.
You had mentioned that as and when the amount of the quantity of the acquired data increases, the billing of the SAC also will increase.
Yes.
Now, where can I get the quantity of data or allotted to me? Like, what is the maximum amount of data that I can have in here? Can I
So
know
you
it
will
from
see that
the
in
interface?
the administration tool. So you see performance. And if you go to data action or statistics and analysis, somewhere in these statistics, you will see the total storage which you've consumed by far. Remember, see, SAP will not give you storage in megabytes like, today you have got 10 records, they take 1 megabyte. It will allocate a
Okay,
block of memory in a block of, let's say,
okay,
8 GB. So even though you want a one extra
okay.
record, you always get that block of 8 GB. Yes, it doesn't
Yes, sir.
matter how much of
Okay, sir.
that block you use, but you will always get memory allocated in a block.
Hmm.
And one block size is going
Okay,
to be chargeable. So let's say one block is going to cost you 10 euro extra per month. So that is the block size,
okay,
which typically they will charge you.
okay,
So if you come here, you have
okay.
many statistics. So if you see backend
Hmm.
statistics, somewhere we should see the total amount of memory which is currently being used. So let me just check. Somewhere we should see that. Yes, top 5 users, query execution, connections, sales data, performance impact, average query runtime, number of queries, throughput, average history, query execution, call history. No. Let me see another benchmark tool. This is the tool for analysis. These are all performance actually, data action study. I think somewhere we should see here. But this option is grayed out. I think in the administration we should be able to see that how much memory
Hmm.
we are consuming per user. It will tell you per user also. It will tell you.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. So but this option in the trial is
One.
grayed out actually. In the trial, as I told you,
Okay.
it's a fixed memory. 200 megabytes is what they allow you in the trial account.
Mhm. And sir, yesterday at my office I was trying to download some content from networks, some standard content from network, but it is always they have it like for DWC only.
EWC means?
DWC, data warehouse cloud or something like that. If you go to
Okay.
content network,
Okay. So that is up to the content designer, how they have designed it. So how did SAP design that content in the past? It depends on them. So I have no control, yes, on that content. So you have to download and see if it is usable for you. according to your business need.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right, guys. See you next weekend. Have a nice day and goodbye.